Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. You know, I've been following General Hospital for decades now, and I swear this old heart of mine still gets pulled in by the stories they tell. Let me share something that's been on my mind lately. About 4 months ago, the folks at ABC started quietly testing something new between Dante Falconeri and Elizabeth Weber. Right from those first scenes, I found myself leaning forward in my chair thinking, well, would you look at that? Dante has always been one of the good ones in Port Charles. After losing Sam McCall, the woman he loved with everything he had back in October of 2024, he went through a long, dark time. I remember watching him grieve, raise his kids, and try to hold himself together. It felt so real, the way a man carries that kind of pain. Then, about a year later, Lulu Spencer finally woke up from her coma. A lot of us fans figured that would be it. They'd find their way back to each other like old times. But life doesn't always give you the ending you expect. Dante was still hurting bad. And Lulu, well, she ended up turning to Nathan West, or Cassius Faison, as we learned. That hit Dante hard. You could see the jealousy flare up in him. He finally had to face the truth that he'd waited too long and maybe that door had closed for good. I felt for the guy. Sometimes you realize too late what you had. That's when things started shifting with Elizabeth. Before February 2026, we really hadn't seen much interaction between her and Dante. But once the writers gave them those private moments together, something special showed up on screen. There was a gentle spark, a real warmth that made me smile. Dante looked at her with respect, but I could also see a little doubt in his eyes, like he wasn't sure if he should let himself hope. Still, the way they connected felt natural, like two people who had both walked through their share of storms and might finally find some peace together. They shared so many quiet, memorable little scenes that just warmed this old heart. I kept thinking to myself, these two could really be something good for each other. Elizabeth has been through more heartbreak than any woman should have to bear. She's strong, kind, and always trying to do right by her family. Watching her open up even a little with Dante felt hopeful. I told my wife the other night, sometimes the best love stories start when you're not even looking. The audience seemed to feel it too. Plenty of folks were rooting for them. But of course, this is Port Charles we're talking about, where nothing stays simple for long. While all this was happening, Rick Lansing came rolling back into town right before Lulu woke up. From the moment he arrived, he set his sights on winning Elizabeth back. Now, I've got mixed feelings about Rick. That man has a past that would make most folks run the other way. I still remember the old days when he locked a pregnant Carly Spencer in a panic room. And after Elizabeth lost her baby, he actually tried to take little Morgan Corinthos and raise him as his own with Liz. That was cold. Then there was all that trouble with Ava Jerome, the messy relationship, the kidnappings involving Ava, Alexis, and Christina. It was a lot. But somehow, after everything, he seems to have changed. Even Sonny Corinthos and Elizabeth decided to give him another chance. People can surprise you, I guess. Lately, we've seen Elizabeth officially go back to Rick. She's been hesitant, and with good reason, considering everything he's done before. But she's giving it a try. Meanwhile, Dante has stepped back like the respectful man he is. He's been nothing but honorable about it. Yet I can still see it in his eyes. Those feelings for Elizabeth haven't disappeared. Not completely. The way he looks at her tells me his heart is still very much involved. Between you and me, I believe Dante and Elizabeth could have built something truly beautiful together. They've both known loss, they've both raised children through tough times, and they both seem to understand what it means to show up for someone when life gets hard. Watching this whole journey has reminded me why I keep coming back to this show after all these years. It's not just about the drama and the secrets, it's about people searching for real happiness after everything life's thrown at them. Dante deserves a woman who sees the steady, loyal man he is. And Elizabeth sure deserves a partner who will love her gently and stand by her side without all the old ghosts coming back to haunt them. Whether the writers decide to give Dante and Elizabeth their chance or let her story with Rick play out, I'm here for it. These storylines make you feel something. They make you root for folks to find a little peace and joy in that crazy town. And if there's one thing I've learned from watching General Hospital all these years, it's that love in Port Charles is never predictable, but when it feels right, it sure is worth hoping for. You know, watching all this unfold on General Hospital has got me thinking a lot lately. With Liz officially back together with Rick, some folks might figure that's the end of the road for Dante. Like maybe he'll just fade into the background now. But I'm not so sure about that. The writers are still giving us those scenes between Dante and Elizabeth, and it sure feels like they're keeping the door open. There's even talk floating around that Rick might fall ill, and who knows, maybe those old dark sides of his could come creeping back, especially now that Jason Morgan is back in town. Those two have had bad blood for years over Sonny's attention. I've seen enough in Port Charles to know that kind of history doesn't just disappear. That's why I keep coming back to the idea that Dante and Elizabeth might just be the real endgame here. Even with Rick back in her life right now, something about those two just feels right. From the very beginning, their chemistry was obvious. They passed that spark test with flying colors. I remember sitting there back in February, watching their first real scenes together and thinking, well, isn't that something special? The fans started talking about it right away, and I don't blame them one bit. There was just this natural warmth between them that you don't see every day on the show. Liz is actually the first woman we've seen Dante truly connect with since Sam passed away. That says a lot. After losing Sam, he carried such a heavy heart for so long. He was grateful when Lulu finally woke up from that 4-year coma. Of course he was. He still had love for her, no question about it. But the truth is, things between Dante and Lulu just haven't lined up romantically. There are too many complications, too many cracks that never quite healed. They tried, but it didn't click the way everyone hoped. With Elizabeth, though, it feels different. I can see Dante starting to feel something real for her. It might still be just little moments right now, a look here, a quiet conversation there, but those moments have real potential to grow into something much bigger. The way he respects her, the way they seem to understand each other without needing a lot of words, it warms this old heart of mine. They've both been through so much loss and heartbreak. Both of them know what it means to keep going for their kids and for themselves. That kind of shared understanding can build into a strong, steady kind of love that lasts. I've said it before and I'll say it again. These two just make sense together. Dante is the kind of man who shows up. He's loyal, protective in the right ways, and he's got that quiet strength Elizabeth deserves after all the storms she's weathered. And Liz, bless her heart, she brings out something softer in him. You can see it in those scenes. Even while she's trying to make things work with Rick, the connection with Dante hasn't gone away. If Rick's old ways come back and with Jason around, there's always that chance I wouldn't be surprised if Elizabeth starts seeing Dante in a whole new light. I tell you what, if the writers let this story play out naturally, Dante and Elizabeth could be one of those couples that feels earned. Not rushed, not forced, but grown from real moments and real feelings. It would be the kind of happy ending that makes you smile after all the drama and tears we've sat through over the years. I'm still watching every episode, hoping to see where this goes. Because if anyone in Port Charles deserves a shot at real, lasting happiness, it's those two. I'll keep tuning in every day, watching their story with a hopeful heart. Dante and Elizabeth just feel right together. Their gentle spark and shared understanding give me the feeling that real happiness might be waiting for them. And if the writers let them find their way to each other, it would sure put a big smile on this old face. Here's hoping, my friends. Here's hoping they get the love they both truly deserve.